Come to Helmuth Ford, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty.
Hi, this is Stacy from Shuttler Insurance Services. Come see me on the east side of the square in Sigourney for all your insurance needs.
Hey, this is Kimmy with Uplift Fitness. We're opening on August 18th at 101 East Marion Street on the square in Sigourney. Come work out with us for free for 2 weeks, August 18th through 30th. Yes, completely free. 5 different class times will be offered with guided workouts for all ages and ability levels. Contact me, Kimmy Hernandez, at 641-660-5023 or check us out on Facebook. Make sure to reserve your spot for free on the 18th. Rise above and stay uplifted.
The 5th annual Travis Griner Memorial Tractor Ride is Saturday, August 23rd. Sign-up begins at 6:30 a.m. behind Griner Crop Service east of the Keota Water Tower, and it's all for a free will donation. Proceeds to the future Keota Child Care and Vets Memorial. This includes lunch and snacks along the ride. Sponsored by the Southeast Iowa Tractor Association. For more information, call Mark Sheets at 319-548-1077. It's the 5th annual Travis Griner Memorial Tractor Ride, Saturday, August 23rd.
Welcome to this edition of Morgan You Asked For podcast. Wednesday night about 9 o'clock. Back to our regular schedule. We are a week and a half out from college football. That matter, and it happens to be one of our teams, my favorite team, the Cyclones, against the K-State Wildcats. It's close, Trev. It's time. We're going to start our predictions. We're going to start tonight with college. We're going to pick the Power 4 conference champion and then our playoff. Okay, we've got the entire bracket. Both of us have our own. And then next week, we will pick game by game Iowa State for sure. And then we'll talk this week. We might do a couple other teams just that are relevant and, nationally relevant, and also maybe some local other teams that do matter, something like a Nebraska or an Illinois, teams that are intriguing, but not really right here. But we'll talk about that this week, Trev, and we'll say that out. We'll save that. But champions, and just a reminder, and Trevor, make sure I'm right with this. I believe it is the same format as last year. The top 4 ranked conference champions get a bye still for this coming year. Going forward, I think that is going to change, but I believe this current year it stayed the same. Correct? Or am I wrong in that?
I actually looked. I thought they changed it, but maybe I'm wrong. We'd have to double check on that.
Maybe they changed that and they didn't change to go to 16. I forget.
Because I double checked on that earlier, and I think it's for the 25 season, the new format. The top 4 conference champions receive a first round bye.
Right.
Is that what you had then? Okay.
Yeah, so that's the same. That would be the same as last year.
Okay, gotcha. So I must have misread that then. But anyway, we've talked about it before. They probably need to change that, which I think they're going to do here eventually.
Yes, I think going into the next year is going to change, and then it's just a matter of time before it goes to 16 and the next thing. But I think what's happened is they have to get unanimous approval, and they couldn't get it for the 16-team playoff until next year. Next year, I believe they don't need unanimous approval. And
automatic bids, but not necessarily automatic buys.
Right. Is that for this year or for next year?
For 25 through 26, that would be this year.
Okay, so mine are going to be a little bit off then. I might make a couple changes here real quick because I did the same format as last year. So the automatic bids, and I know that's the argument. We're kind of getting a little off base here, but that's the big argument is the Big Ten and the SEC kind of want 4 automatics. The Big 12 would get 2, ACC get 2, and then 4 and 4 for the Big Ten and SEC, and then, 1 group of 5, and then the rest at large. The ACC and others don't want to give up the 4 automatic bids, give up half the playoff. just because of the conference. Now, in reality, I believe that Iowa State and the Big 12 would benefit by getting 2 automatics, but it's one of those you just don't want to flat out tell the SEC and the Big 10 that you're twice as good as us. That's the hiccup.
Yeah, for the Big 12 and the ACC, you would definitely like to get 2 in each. And if they expand, that's probably what's going to happen. 4-4, 2-2, plus the Notre Dame, as we know, they're always going to be in the mix. And then the Group of 5 winner, whoever that is, or the highest ranked Group of 5, I should say, typically a Boise State or a team like that. But it sounds like they're going to change it up this year, which they probably should. Last year was the first year that they did it. Everybody was kind of in agreement that some changes need to be made. So it sounds like that's happening. And I do think this thing is going to expand eventually. But I do know that we're still at 12, though, for this coming season.
Yes. Yeah. And that is – sorry, I'm making just a couple changes here on mine.
Oh, you're good. You're good. We're going to go through the 4 major conference championship winners. Then what Morgan and I we'll seed this 1 through 12, probably go through the top 4 seeds first, and then we'll talk about the first round matchups, which of course are home games, which I love. I think that's awesome for college football.
Right.
The 4 teams that are a little bit lower seeded, that don't get the buys, they do get the advantage of a home game, get that extra money, all that type of stuff, get the TV attention. It's just great for any of the 4 teams that get those home games to start off the playoff.
Yes. Yeah. The more, and it's not going to happen, but the more games that are on college campuses, the better. It needs to go one more round. Like the buys need to happen, at home playoff games, because you think about last year, Oregon, they were the number 1 team in the country, the number 1 seed. They had beat Ohio State in the regular season, earned a bye, had to play Ohio State in the Rose Bowl, and got beat. They really didn't get any advantage. Penn State got to play a home game and then got to play Boise State in, I believe, the Fiesta Bowl or the Orange Bowl. I can't remember which one, but it wasn't very close for any of the teams. That would have been a real coup. If Penn State would have had to go to Boise State, it would have been a lot different game, I believe. Maybe not, because talent does win most games, but if Boise State could have had a home game, that would have been a lot different.
Yeah, and like I said, they're probably going to expand on this. I don't know what the exact number they're going to come up with. You and I have talked before. They've talked about 14 or some other different numbers that they're going to come up with here. But, yeah, the second round, they're probably going to keep the bowls just because of how much money's involved. But I almost would like to see that second round home games as well for the top 4 seeds. They've kind of earned those those 4 seeds. They should get a home field advantage. But with however much money that the Rose Bowl and Fiesta Bowl and all these others are putting into it, I don't know if that's going to change anytime soon, if ever.
Right. The bowl games are going to have to continue to be a part of it for the foreseeable future. I'm not going to say forever. I do think the Rose Bowl did concede starting at 4:00 or 3:30, whatever they start, which is actually a big step for them, because that was a big thing. They always wanted the first half to be in sunlight and the second half to be after sunset. But I believe they did concede that so they can start at different times now.
Yeah, I think you're right. I saw that a while back. So, yeah, the Rose Bowl is giving up a little bit of time, but I think it should still work out pretty well. We'll see how – this will be the first year, of course, that's at a different time. We'll see how it works out, but I think it'll be okay.
Yeah, it will be. All right, let's get to it. Let's do our 4 champions first. Okay, and let's just pick our champions and not tell us we won't do the seeding quite yet. But let's go ahead and let's just kind of go alphabetical order here. Okay, so we're going to start with the ACC. I don't have a championship game. When you look at my bracket, you'll see who probably is in that, but that's not a guarantee. They don't have to pick the runner-up, the team that lost, because somehow with the way tiebreakers and everything, there was an argument to be made that like BYU last year was really close to getting into the playoff, and it wasn't Iowa State because they had that extra loss, things like that. And that's happened in the past where teams that didn't play in a championship game got picked for, the BCS games or New Year's Six, whatever you want to call it, against over teams that, lost that game just because their record is better. They went 11-1, and now that other team is 11-2, just for that. So my ACC champion, not going out on a limb at all, and I'm going to pick Clemson.
Same here. I'll give you who they're playing, but I've got Clemson over Louisville. It was a close toss-up between Miami. I went with Louisville just to change things up a little bit, but I have Clemson. I think 99% of college football people will probably have that same pick there.
Yep. I agree there. I just think Dabo he's still not all in on all the changes, but I think he did get enough to help him. And people do forget, they won the ACC last year and got to a playoff. So people do not remember that. So, but they really did. Okay, so now next would be the Big Ten. Again, I'm not going out on a big limb here, but I think there is two teams that stand out against all the others that you definitely could pick. So it'll be interesting to see if you pick the other team. I'm going to go with Ohio State. There are question marks there, but and Ryan Day is not my favorite coach, but I do think he is better than the other team that I think will be right there, and that's James Franklin at Penn State. So I'm going to go Ohio State.
You and I are on the exact same here. I've got Ohio State over Penn State.
Yeah, and it very well, it probably will be Penn State. And you're going to see where I have Penn State and everything. I think Penn State's going to be really, really good. I just think if it comes down to it, Ohio State will beat Penn State in the Big Ten title game. And then let's go to the Big
Penn State. Yeah, they've got trouble beating top 5 teams we know under James Franklin. So I am going to go with Ohio State. Just the brand, everything like that. Ryan Day winning the national title. But I do think those two teams do end up in the Big Ten title this year.
All right, Big 12. I'm going to go with it's not the odds-on favorite, but it's the team that is trying to break college football, and I'm going to go with the Texas Tech Red Raiders. They match the SEC for money. They got all the players. If this works, they have the talent to not only win the Big 12, but then compete in this playoff.
Yeah, Texas Tech has a ton of money. Their alumni, I don't know the guy's name, but anyway, they went 8-5 last year. I believe they spent the most money in the portal, or at least one of the highest spending teams. So I know that's a popular pick. I think they're still 1 year away. I'm going to go with what I know, and that's a rematch of last year's Big 12 championship game. And I am going to take Arizona State over Iowa State. Arizona State returns the most starters of any team in the country, and they've got the quarterback, the receiver, all the linemen are back. The big question for me, though, for Arizona State is, did they lose their heart and soul of the team with Scadaboo? He was such an important part of that team. But they've got, people talk about all the big quarterbacks, Arch Manning, Aller, Nussmeier, some of these other guys. I'm really excited to see Sam Leavitt at Arizona State. I don't know what he projects as a pro yet, but I liked what I saw in the 2 games that I watched at the end of last year. So I'm going to go a little bit chalky and boring, but I'm going to do a rematch, Arizona State over Iowa State in the Big 12 championship.
Yeah, I've got Texas Tech winning, but I do think it's going to be just like last year. There was 4 teams that finished 7-2, and just with the tiebreakers, it ended up being Iowa State and Arizona State. It could have been Colorado and BYU if just one other game was different. I do think Arizona State's going to be right there, and I do think Iowa State is going to be right there. And then the kind of another team that I think is going to be better than a lot of people think, and that is TCU. I think they might have a little bit to say. Even if they don't get there, they're going to have a say in who ends up being there.